What if I told you you're focusing on the wrong thing? I want you to think about this for a second. If you are someone who works a typical 40-hour work week, that's actually only 23% of your total week. Now, assuming that you sleep on average 8 hours a night, which I hope you do, 7 to 9 hours is the recommendation, but let's meet in the middle and call it 8. Let's say you're sleeping 8 hours a night. There's another 23% of your week that you're spending sleeping. There's still 54% of it left over. That's more than half of your week that's yours. That's not spent at work and that's not spent sleeping. And I came across something recently that made me start rethinking the other 54%. It made me stop and reconsider how I was approaching my work and my leisure time. And I thought that it was such an interesting concept, and I think it's going to have a big impact on not just your mental well-being, but how you see your life as a whole and how you approach your day-to-day activities. And I'm going to dive into it. In this episode, we are flipping the script on hustle culture, and we are talking about what it means to spend your time well and what kind of mindset shifts can help you be more intentional with the way that you're spending your time so that you can protect your well-being, protect your mental health, and honestly just make your life more enjoyable, because like who's not going to benefit from that, right? Who doesn't want a more enjoyable life? Welcome to the Mindset Gym podcast, where we exercise your way of thinking to help unlock your hidden potential. I'm your host, Emily Irwin, a registered nurse and holistic nutritionist with a passion for all things health, fitness, and personal development. All right, let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to the Mindset Gym podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I put this episode together and I wanted to talk about this topic because I came across something on Instagram a while ago and it stopped me in my tracks, actually, because it was not a thought process that I had ever considered. It wasn't a frame of mind that I had ever considered. And I thought that it was really interesting because I think it really changes the way that we think about and approach our day-to-day activities in life. And I think it's really beneficial to implement this way of thinking. And the post that I saw said something along the lines of, treat your hobbies and interests as your main career and treat your job like your side hustle. Now, I know what you're thinking. Your job is what pays your bills. Your job is what keeps a roof over your head and food in your fridge. I understand that, and I'm not suggesting that you work less or get rid of the job that you have or do anything in that realm. This is purely a shift in mindset. This is really just a shift in the way that you are thinking so that your job is not the nucleus of everything. Because I think for most people, that's what it is. It is the thing that takes up the majority of your mental bandwidth. It is the thing that is on your mind the most. You wake up in the morning and you're thinking about work that day, or you come home and you're stressing about things that went on, or you're stressing about the next day, or you're stressing about this deadline, or this meeting you have next week, or this presentation you have to give. All of it. Something that is only 23% of your total week should not be taking up a much larger percentage of your mental bandwidth. And the thing is when we allow it to take up so much of our mental bandwidth, it bleeds into our leisure time. And so that other 54% that I talked about, a lot of it gets eaten up worrying about work. And so this is the kind of shift in focus that I want you to have today. This is the one that I want to talk about, where instead of making your main job, your main career, the nucleus of your life and the biggest thing and the main event of your life that everything else kind of works around, I want you to start making your hobbies and your interests the main focus. I want you to start making that the nucleus of your life. Your job is just a little side quest that keeps your bills paid. Right? I think this is just a really interesting way of thinking about it. And I think it adds such a sense of levity to your life because it allows you to put more intentional focus on the things that really light you up. you start taking a lot of the time and the mental bandwidth that you're spending on this thing that you have to do in order to pay the bills, and you're starting to shift gears and putting it into the thing that brings you joy and makes you feel fulfilled and that you're passionate about. And I think we often hear that quote of people aren't stressed out because they're doing too much. They're stressed out because they're not doing enough of what they love or enough of what lights them up. And that's so true. Like, we spend so much time engrossed in our daily responsibilities and our to-do lists and our jobs, and we often forget to give any time or focus on the things that we truly love or the things that we just genuinely enjoy doing. And I think part of that comes from the fact that we live in a world that prioritizes productivity, and we equate busyness with being productive, and we think that doing more and more makes you more productive and therefore makes you more valuable. And we put a lot of value on things that have to do with work, and we don't put a lot of value in things that are purely for leisure or purely for enjoyment. We tend to view them as a waste of time. We tend to view them as things that don't have a purpose. And when we are trying to kind of prioritize what we're going to do in a day and what we want to do, that tends to be the thing that gets taken off the list completely because we fail to see the value in it. I'm here to tell you, there's actually a lot of value in it. Doing things that seem seemingly worthless or like a waste of time, just because they bring you joy, just because you enjoy them, is not a waste of time. You doing activities that genuinely just light you up and bring you joy is actually extremely beneficial for you. Studies show that people who regularly engage in hobbies and interests report a higher degree of life satisfaction, better mood, and fewer depressive symptoms compared to the people that don't. And along with boosting your overall mood and reducing your risk of things like depression and anxiety, having hobbies that you genuinely enjoy and participating in things just because they bring you pleasure can actually have some other benefits. You engaging in hobbies that you enjoy is going to engage your brain in different ways than the other activities that you do throughout the day. And you engaging in hobbies that you enjoy opens you up to a social circle of other people who do hobbies that you enjoy and therefore share similar values with. And so you participating in things that you enjoy and participating in hobbies and using your brain in a different way can improve your cognitive function. It's going to train your brain and work your brain in different ways than the other activities in your life and can help reduce your risk of things like dementia later in life. And along with that, being able to find social circles that share similar interests to you because you're engaging in these interests is going to improve your social well-being, which again, is going to improve your overall well-being. There is a lot of far-reaching benefits to your mental health, and as an indirect effect, your physical health as well, from you engaging in the things that you genuinely enjoy doing. Another thing that it can do is it can help with stress release, because you are not engaging in something that is, really high stress and really high demand the way that your main job might be. This is something that is low stakes. It's for pleasure. It's really just for you to enjoy and take in and pour your full self into. And it's kind of like your brain is just doing like a big, yes, like this is it. This is what I want to do. Right? Yeah, I think we can all relate to times where we've been doing something that we really enjoy, something that we really love just for the sake of doing it. And we almost get into like that flow state where time passes so fast and you are just so engaged and so engrossed in the thing that you're doing because you love it, because it lights you up. And so I'm going to give you some tips. I'm going to take you through a few simple shifts that you can do in order to implement this way of thinking of making your hobbies and your interests your main career and your main job your side hustle. The first one that I want you to do is I want you to block out time for your hobbies and your interests the way that you would a meeting for work. If it's not in your calendar and you're not planning time aside for it, it doesn't exist. And the chances of you actually making time for it during your day once you get wrapped up in the stress of everything else is very low. So I want you to treat it like the priority that it should be. So the way that you would schedule obligations for your main job into your calendar, the way that you would schedule work meetings and time in the office and deadlines for work, anything like that, schedule your hobbies the same way. So block off time for it during the day for you to just engage in these things. And I know at the beginning of the show I said that you've got 54% of time that is yours. I understand that we also have other responsibilities outside of our main job. Some of you are parents, some of you are caregivers for a loved one. Some of you may have multiple jobs. There is other stuff going on as well that's going to eat up some of that 54%. So if you can't dedicate that entire 54% chunk to just doing things that light you up and that you're interested in, that's okay. This doesn't need to be a big chunk of time that you're dedicating. The main takeaway here is the intention. It is the prioritization and the focus of you making these things a consistent and important part of your day. That's really the main takeaway here of this shift, is you are giving your hobbies and your interests the same importance and focus that you would give your main job. So plan it into your day the way that you would your work obligations, even if it is just a short chunk of time, even if it's just 15 minutes here and there, for you to set a timer and just take out, something you love to do. Maybe it's reading fantasy novels, maybe it's building Legos, maybe it's painting. Whatever it is that lights you up and brings you joy, set aside time to work on it on a regular basis. Number 2, I want you to set goals for your hobby. And again, this may seem counterintuitive, because if you are looking at your hobbies as something that are just a waste of time and something that aren't meaningful to you, this is probably not an approach you've ever thought about. But your hobbies, just like anything else, is something that you can set goals for and set milestones that you can achieve in order to progress through it in some sort of meaningful way. And the nice thing about this is they're your hobbies, so you get to set the timeline. So this is not like your main job where your boss is telling you when you need to do things by. You can decide. So decide a schedule that is comfortable and easy for you to follow through on. And so this can look like, what skills do I want to develop? Is there something new that you want to learn? An example of this right now is my fiance and I have been learning Japanese in our spare time. And so this is something that we have been actively blocking out time to do on a daily basis so that we continue to do it. Just like I said in the first tip, we block it out like we do our work obligations. And then for the second part, we have kind of a concrete goal of, what skill do I want to develop? Where do I want to be at the end of this? What is my goal for all of this? What do I want the end result to be? And then you can decide from there, what kind of time am I able to commit to this? What kind of milestones along the way would tell me that I'm on the right track? And you can kind of track your progress with your hobbies and your interests the way that you do anything else. And again, these don't have to be hard. These don't have to be major. They don't have to be rushed. This could be as simple as maybe once a year you build one huge Lego display. Or maybe once every couple of months you finish one big canvas painting. Whatever it is, whatever you enjoy doing, add some milestones to it and add some goals to your hobbies. The next one is, I want you to put systems in place to make your hobbies and interests easy to follow through on. So let's say you are working from home, or you are trying to implement a new habit like going to the gym. There are steps that I think we hear often talked about that would help you put that into place. So you would set aside a dedicated space like your home office or a home gym, or you would sign up for a gym membership. You would have a dedicated space where you were going to do this thing. Or you would prepare the night before. So you would, get all your work things ready. You would go over your schedule for the following day. You might set your running shoes out beside your bed or put your gym bag in your car, right? Like, there's just preparation steps that we take to get things ready so that we have systems in place to make these things easier. So that when the actual time comes to go to the gym or start working, we're not scrambling and trying to figure everything out then and trying to make a bunch of decisions on the spot. We already have systems in place to make it easy. So I want you to start treating your hobbies the same way. Start putting systems in place to make it easier for you to do them on a regular basis. Create a dedicated space for them. Prepare them the night before. If there's something that you're planning on working on, let's say you have a painting that you want to work on the following day, take out the brushes, take out the canvas, put them somewhere easily accessible to you and have them ready to go so that the following day when the time comes that you are wanting to do this, there's no preparation, there's no decision making. It's there. It's ready for you to go. This just removes some of the barriers and some of the friction and makes it easier for you to engage in these things on a regular basis. And the last thing that I want you to do is I want you to find community and social support. And the reason for this is that you having a community of people who share similar interests or can help keep you on track with what you're doing is going to help with accountability. It's going to help with overall joy and enjoyment of what you're doing. And it's going to make it a little bit more fun because you have other people engaging in the same thing and it helps motivate you to do it on a regular basis. So this could look like taking a class. If there's something that you're really interested in, maybe signing up for a beginner's class of it. Maybe if you're really interested in pottery, signing up for a beginner's pottery class, or signing up for a dance class, or signing up for a baseball league. Just something so that you have a similar community of people around you that engage in the thing you like. Or let's say it's something like building Legos or painting that you're doing. Maybe you could join a social media page of people who are interested in the same thing. Maybe you could create a social media account just to share the things that you're building or the things that you're painting. Not for likes or comments or anything, but just to share it, just to create a community where you get to share the things you love and talk about the things that you love. We have this community kind of built in with our main job. We have coworkers, we have a boss, we have people around us already. It's kind of a built-in part of the deal when you have a full-time job. And so the tricky part of making your hobbies and your interests kind of a focus the way that you would your main job is that the social aspect of it is something you actively have to seek out and build. But it's worth it to do it. It will help make your hobby and your interest feel like more of a concrete part of your identity. And it will make it easier for you to show up more consistently and engage in it. So that's what I have for today. Just a few simple tips. I wanted to try and put together some things for you guys to actually use to put this into practice because I thought it was such an interesting notion and just a really helpful way to think about your life and such a helpful way for you to make joy and pleasure a more regular part of your day because they should be. You engaging in things just because they make you happy and just because they bring you pleasure is not a waste of time. It is part of what life is about. It is beneficial for your mental health. It is beneficial for your overall well-being. And it just makes the entire flavor of life more enjoyable. So don't discount them. Don't write them off as a waste of time. Don't try to replace them with something more productive. Have them be at the forefront of your day. Have them be at the forefront of your planning the way that your primary job is. And so that's the mindset shift I want you to take away from this, is I want you to start looking at your hobbies and your interests as if they are your career and show up for them that way. Treat them with that level of importance and that level of priority. And in turn, treat your main job as if it's your side hustle. It's something that you do only 23% of the time to keep your bills paid. I just think that's just such a fun way to look at your life because then the focus of your life is not work. The focus of your life is not what you do for work and is not the entire nucleus of your existence. Your existence gets to be about your interests and your hobbies and joy and pleasure and doing things just because they're fun. Because life should be fun and life should be enjoyable. Okay? Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing week, and I'll catch you next time. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. If you liked the episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a review, or share the show with a friend. Your support helps the show reach even more incredible people just like you. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time at the Mindset Gym.